Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Does My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met at a training, and our secret sauce is that we and our partners became fast friends. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for couples therapy. If something you hear in this podcast stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com to leave a question of your own. Our next live workshop, Integrating Mind and Heart, will be held online from September 22nd to 24th, 2023.
If you want to get closer and trust each other and yourself to get through the hard moments, this is the workshop for you.
Sign up at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
Here's today's question. Why does my partner become more needy the healthier I get and the more I try to establish healthy boundaries? Jules, I feel like I want to throw this one your way.
Well, I love boundaries.
I know,
love
that's
talking
why
about boundaries.
I have a million ideas, but I do want to throw it your way.
Well, my first knee-jerk sort of reaction, I'm interested in what you're thinking as well, is especially around boundaries. So one, I think there's two different points here. The healthier I get is one thing, and the established healthy boundaries is another thing.
Yeah, those are it's almost like they're two different things.
They could be. I don't know how this caller's thinking about it, but yeah, they could be two different things. And I think healthy boundaries are part of health. And, I, first of all, don't think of a certain thing or set of behaviors as quote unquote healthy boundaries.
Right.
That's not how I think about it. How I think about it is that boundaries are on a spectrum from rigid to porous. So the more porous, the more I let in, the more I let out. The more rigid, the less I let in, the less I let out. There are moments when sliding my home base more towards the rigid side would be really handy. So if I were trapped in an airplane with someone who was talking about things and I really did not want to engage in them, and I've put in my headphones and they keep wondering, if they can talk to me about their political beliefs with which I do not agree, right? Maybe I don't want to engage in that conversation. Having a more rigid boundary might be helpful. Or in a moment where I'm in a workplace environment, maybe having sliding towards letting less out, like with physical touch, would be really respectful. Right? There are moments too where moving towards the more porous end of things, letting more out. So if I'm sharing something that's hard to share with my partner, I might be more porous on purpose, or I might have a moment where letting in a cuddle moment with my kid is really helpful, right? So then I'm more on the porous side. So I don't think of boundaries as like staying in one spot. I think of them more as like, do you know yourself well enough to know what you like when it comes to where you land on that spectrum? as kind of your home-based space. And it could be different with what I'm taking in versus what I'm letting out, et cetera. And then, can I be flexible? How flexible am I? How easy is it for me to flex? So those are the things when I think about healthy boundaries. And a lot of times when we feel like we've had difficulty with boundaries, and then we're establishing more boundaries, a lot of times that's leading to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot
That's
of
what I
people
was
don't
thinking.
like change.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a way that I'm coming to understand and look at things is that we have patterns that we behave in certain ways. We have certain patterns in our systems, and
Mhm.
we're familiar with those patterns. In many cases, those patterns have helped us to survive.
Mhm.
And when we are moving out of those patterns, we're moving into something different.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And right, different
Yeah,
is change.
change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it is true that like change is one of these amazing things that when it happens can really begin to transform a relationship. And it is one of the places that folks get really stuck.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think there's this idea that as one partner in a system, in any system, right? It could be
Yeah.
any kind of
Mhm.
family system. When one of the people becomes more self-led, integrated, healthy, or whatever we want to call it,
Mhm.
it is shifting the equilibrium inside the whole system.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so there's like, it's causing everybody to rebalance.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lot of times people, I think, have backlash
Mm-hmm.
against
Mhm.
change.
Yep.
So if one partner's changing, but the other partner's sitting there going, wait a second, I wasn't ready for anybody to change anything
Yeah.
here.
Right.
There can be a lot of like, wait, no, don't
Mhm.
do that energy that I could see could look like neediness. I don't know what's going on the inside, but that would be a normal chasing or
Mhm.
pushing against the new boundary
That's right.
would be a really normal behavior we would see.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
that's that person struggling with, wait a second, is this change real? Right. Could I make it not happen? Like, what if they don't like the new change?
Right. Well, because I'm thinking if it was too much for the partner.
Mhm.
So this one dynamic, and I'm showing my hands like close together. And so the partner A who called in wants more space. So partner A moves a little bit to the left, but
Mhm.
partner B liked it the way that it was.
Mhm.
So as partner A moves, partner
They
B is going to
follow.
follow because
They
I
might start
liked
chasing.
right. Because they liked the dynamic and they weren't
Mhm.
wanting a change.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my
Yeah.
first thought is because your partner liked it the way it was, not good or
Mhm.
bad or anything, no judgment,
Mhm.
just saying that might be why they're now not
Yeah.
happy because they were happy then
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
So
weren't. I mean, that's a Haram situation for me again, because
Mhm.
I want both to find their balance of the happiness of where the boundaries are.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking of two things in here. One, I want to talk about what boundaries are and what determines what quote unquote healthy boundaries are.
Mhm.
But I also just want to pause us for a second
Mhm.
and name the need for pause. That
Mhm.
sometimes we're just moving too fast. Like it could just be too much change, too much, too fast. And
Mhm.
so it's not that there's anything wrong with the change that's
Yeah.
being initiated, but it might just be that your partner needs some time to digest what's going
Sure.
on.
Mhm.
Mhm. That's totally possible. I'm also interested in the language needy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not sure um, what different things would look needy to different people,
Yeah.
right? But I am curious about whatever the behaviors are that are shifting, what do they really indicate? And so whenever I'm looking, so let's say my partner made some sort of shift, and all of a sudden the behavior looked really different. Here's what's going to happen because I'm a meaning making being. I'm going to make up a story
But
about
this is
why
all of
it's
us,
looking
right,
like
Jules?
that.
This is not
Yeah.
just Jules.
This is not just me. This is
Thank
just
you.
how brains work,
Mhm.
right? Because how you orient to the world is through meaning, and a lot of it's emotional meaning, right? So I'm going to make up a
Mhm.
story and probably subconsciously make up that story, and then without even a pause, I'm going to believe that story,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to attribute certain qualities that come from the story to the behavior. So something that can be really helpful to slow this whole thing down is to stop and be curious about whether or not your story is right. So here's my partner, and he's been like more huggy than normal. And I go, oh my God, he's being so clingy. Okay, that was from a story.
Mm-hmm.
And then, is it true that he's needy, clingy? Or is something else going on? And the only way I have to know is to ask him.
Or I don't like the words healthy and unhealthy, but what many of us do is make up more stories
Oh, yeah, totally.
about why he's being needy or clingy.
Or clingy or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something's going on, or he's cheating and he feels bad, or
Right.
X, Y, and Z. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
But asking is a better solution.
Well, asking, I don't know if it's a better solution or not. It could lead to a fight. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
But no, but there are plenty of times when I could ask, well, I'm noticing this change.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner hasn't noticed the change, right? Or he didn't see a change. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're making stuff up again.
Right. So now we're making things explicit, right? And so now, now we're taking it into this place of it not just being these implicit stories that we're making up, but we're interrupting those implicit stories because we're bringing it into the field in between us. And we're basically saying, hey, there's this thing that's going on. I'm noticing that I have an impulse towards making a particular change, and I'd like you to join me in making a change towards this. What do you think about it?
And then you're prepping it on the front end.
Right.
And sometimes, for whatever reason, the space in between us, a lot of people have a hard time with prepping it, though I would recommend it. I'm with Rebecca on this one. And I totally get to that sometimes it just feels like
I just want my partner to read my fucking mind.
Hard
Don't
to
they know already
prep
about all the
it.
work I'm doing? Come on, can't they tell?
Totally. And
Sorry.
and it's also possible that you're calling out something that was relatively subconscious. So it's not like they have actually a ready answer for what's happening on the inside. So we might have to slow down and wonder about it.
Yeah.
But then there's this question about what kind of relationship do we want to build here?
Yeah. And I want to name something that I think in part answers that question and also takes on this other question about what are healthy what does it mean to establish healthy boundaries, right? Because if we're not having these conversations around what kind of relationship we want to build and what kind of change we're trying to evoke, then is this an active relational negotiation, or is it that one partner is saying this is what you need to do and there's not a
hijack?
Right?
That's what I hear when you're saying that.
Yeah. So I want to be really careful about, like, I'm putting healthy in quotes here, establishing healthy boundaries, because if there's not a relational negotiation happening, then we're not in a space of relationality.
Well, we're definitely not making direct requests. I think of it like request, there are demands, there are criticisms, there are complaints, and there are boundaries. If I'm demanding something from you, i.e., I'm asking for a behavior shift, and it's not okay with me that you say no, I'm basically in a power over position.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to do something different by telling you have to. If I'm in more of a complaint space, then I'm in a power under position, trying to get you to change from the one down.
But what if I know that my idea is right, Jules? And
but my idea is right. I can give an example.
Right? And you happen to be with the person you're actually with, and we need to deal with that reality. And so, right does not matter a whole lot.
Well, there's that. I'll give you that, because I think everyone on the planet can agree that it is not physically, nor emotionally, nor relationally healthy to sleep on the couch every single night because you fall asleep watching TV and you are not with your partner.
I actually do not have any feelings about that behavior at all, right or wrong.
It is.
So
did I just make you so mad?
It's not healthy.
I don't know.
You're not getting a good night's sleep.
I have no idea.
I don't know. What's your couch like?
I don't know.
Well, he likes watching TV on the couch better than bed. I'll give you that. But no, he'll admit that
maybe you need a TV in the bedroom.
We have that too. We've tried that solution.
I understand. Here's what I get is that you really want him to come to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he really wants to be on his own schedule.
He really wants to come to bed too, on his own schedule, fair, but he falls asleep on the couch before the schedule would have told him he was ready to.
Right. He wants to live in a more limitless body than he has. I totally get it.
Oh yeah, he's you.
I have that struggle as well. I also want that.
Adam and I should talk.
Right.
It doesn't make me mad that you're like that.
Totally. So there's a lot of different solutions that he could make with that, but this gets into requests and boundaries, right?
Yes.
So, right. So if we make a request, then we're asking for a behavior change. If we make a boundary, I'm not saying it won't provoke a behavior change. It might, but a boundary isn't about what somebody else is going to do.
It's about what you're going to do in response to how someone else is. So like if someone is not coming to bed, right? Night after night after night, you may have a response to them not coming to bed night after night after night. Right?
So like
all my response is whining and complaining the next day. It's really effective.
It's been, he's clearly already in the bed. It worked, right?
It's clearly not effective at all. I have not set a boundary. I mean, I've made multiple requests. I have not set a boundary. I don't see myself setting a boundary, to be honest.
You might not, because it may be, so part of the first thing about boundary work when we're talking about an external boundary. So I think of boundaries in a lot of different ways, which I know I could go on about for hours, and I will not bore all of our listeners by doing that here.
I don't think it'd be boring, and I still won't let you do it yet. So
not for the podcast. No. So what is possible here is to just think about this as an external boundary. So there's a boundary between you and another person. And so when I think about that, I think about, well, what is an external boundary? It's defining what is okay with me and what is not okay with me. And when the not okay thing happens, what will I do? So if it's like you're talking about, what I'm hearing is, as much as you'd like for it to be different, it's not really that not okay with you that you want to do something bigger than that.
That's right.
So in this moment, your assessment is, it's not the greatest, but it's actually in the okay category. So I'm going to kind of bitch about it, but I'm going to let this one go.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Whereas something else might happen. I'm thinking about someone who I was talking to who set a boundary around drinking. Her partner drinks quite a lot and sometimes would pass out or become blackout drunk. And so this person decided to, when that evening was going that way, to lock the bedroom door instead of sleeping on the couch. So what was happening is the partner who was not drinking was when the drinking partner came in and turned the TV on or turned the lights on and didn't pay attention to the fact that the other person was sleeping. It was loud and snoring and hiccupping or whatever, disrupting sleep. That rather than continuing to be okay with that, well, I'm going to go to bed first anyway, and I'm going to go ahead and lock the door. And we have lots of couches in a guest room. Feel free to pick a bed.
That one makes sense.
Because I'm not willing to sleep with you when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So that would be like a boundary, but it wasn't in the such not okay category that was leaving level.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a family involved and this person didn't want the family broken up.
Yeah.
Right. So boundaries are about what we will do in response to. It's essentially about how we take distance when things don't feel good.
Well, it could be distance, or it could be it could also be active. I don't know that it has to be distance. I don't want to limit it like that. It's just whatever action is going to make sense to you in response to the thing that's not okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of distance, but it could also be other ways of navigating the relational space or layers of protection or vulnerability, right? Like, because that's really, we're looking at something's feeling vulnerable and it's not feeling okay. That I'm standing here feeling vulnerable like this and you're not really attending to or responding to this thing or responding in maybe a careless way or a way that's just causing me some kind of harm. And so in response to your behavior in that way,
this is how I'm going to take care of me.
Right. This is exactly.
Yeah.
This is how I will take care of me.
It's protective, right? Because I can see you're not going to take care of me in this way. So I'm going to take care of me in this way. Yep. And this particular person who had 2 sons who were in elementary school, the idea of saying no or fighting over visitation or splitting up a family was a no-go. Just off the table. So how am I going to keep, that doesn't feel good to me. So how am I going to keep myself safer and taking care of me in the face of this behavior not changing at this point?
Right. And I might even leverage something. I might say like, if this doesn't change, then I will. Right. Or if you keep doing this, what you can expect from me would be.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one of the things we were working on was this person talking to their partner about
That's
it before actually
like,
doing it.
Making
this keeps happening. Right. We keep talking about making things explicit and having damn conversations.
And it's so hard.
I know, but this work is also so circular. We keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's true.
It's true. We talk about talking.
We talk about talking a lot. and how to keep yourself in good care.
Yeah.
While you're talking.
While you're talking. How do you tend to yourself in a way that takes good care of you so that you could really show up in some kind of relational presence, feeling connected and protected, feeling that you are able to really like be alive with each other.
Totally. I'm thinking about that Prentice Hemphill quote about boundaries. The boundaries are this space, enough space between you and me that I can love you and me at the same time.
That's right.
Oh, you've probably said that before. It rings a bell.
She probably said it more perfectly than I just recalled it, but
yeah,
that's the essence.
It's something about that, and we'll find the quote and add that to the show notes too, maybe. But it is something just like that. Like boundaries are the distance or the space that I need in order to love both me and you simultaneously, or respect or protect both me and you simultaneously. Yeah. This is our last episode of the season.
Oh,
is it really?
So we have to wish our folks good luck with setting your boundaries and talking more and risking saying something and risking laying seeds.
And I want to also acknowledge for folks that might be surprised by this being the last episode of the season that, we didn't indeed change our template. And instead of doing 20 episodes per season, we decided to do about 10 episodes per season and really kind of emphasize and elongate our mini series with a little bit more consciousness. So you get kind of between seasons a little bit more. So you can expect that over the course of a year, you'll probably get something like 26 or so episodes from us throughout the entire year. And we're just going to spread it out. We also have a brand new workshop.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
Yes.
Oh, we hope September. You can come. Yeah, I cut you off. You were telling him when it is.
I was saying September of this year, which is 2023.
Yes.
I'm really
excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to learn how to have difficult conversations or just like the ones that don't feel so good, right?
If you'd like a little support.
Yeah. or a lot of support.
And to learn why they're hard for you. I mean, there's the general themes, and then as you hear the themes, you learn about yourself of like, oh, this is my stuff.
That's right.
And how exactly to find your stuff and how to talk about it and how to have a partner who might show up and listen with you as well. because this is a
Yeah.
workshop for individuals who want to explore themselves in relational health. And it's also a workshop for couples. And so feel free to bring your partner or partners. And so you can be with us and explore together and
Yeah.
maybe even make some agreements or explore, oh, wait, how high up the Mount Everest mountain do we want to climb here? Have I ever told you all about that metaphor? I can't remember.
I don't know.
This metaphor is so genius. It comes from, I think it's Finkel's book. It's called The All or Nothing Marriage.
Mhm.
And he talks about how there is, think of it as like a mountain. And the higher you climb, the better the views are.
Yep.
And we got sold a bill of goods that you were supposed to have Mount Everest views without any work.
Yeah.
And that is not true. The higher up the base camp you go, base camp 1, base camp 2, base camp 3, right? All these pausing spots up the mountain, the more work you have to do to get up there. You have to train and bring gear and oxygen tanks and stuff if you want to get all the way up to the top. So it's a great time to come and be with each other and find out, hey, wait a second, what do we have the bandwidth for?
Mhm.
What kind of view do we want? What kind of intimacy do we want? How high do we want to climb? And are you in this with me?
And are you in this with me? And can we develop our capacity to trust ourselves and to trust each other, that we can develop practices and ways of reattuning when we get off course? Because we're bound to get off course. It's bound to not be perfect.
Yes.
Oh, everybody gets lost on the mountain sometimes.
Yeah,
That's
all
not
of us,
weird.
all of us do, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's
What-
not
all the
going to
time.
stop. That's
What
not
you
gonna change.
where you grow the trust though
Mhm.
is not in it never happening, but you grow the trust in when it happens. What I trust is that we can do this together. We can do hard things. We can figure this out.
We can get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So come learn with us. We'd love to have you. And you can learn more about that at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you see you there.
Join us.
And we'll see you in the mini series.
Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at one of our workshops. You'll find our next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you can ask us your questions?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
And here are some gratitudes. Thanks to Al Huberman, our sound editor and podcast production magic maker.
Thanks to every one of you who has joined us for our workshops in the past. We've learned so much from all of you.
And thanks to everyone who's reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help others to find the show.
Take care of each other best you can.
See you next time.